6 days left, and one of our friends already dead. We are left with no idea if we are to meet the same fate as Odaka. But maybe there are some answers to be found in the TS. Though it looks like as of right now, our character won't be finding those out, as we are currently in control of Rico, who seems to be on her final day. So as we continue in Rico's version of the game, we find that she's no longer in the town of Verona, but instead in what seems to be a brand new area populated by these odd statues. Odd talking statues. Yeah, these statues, I'm not going to be talking to every one of them because they don't have too much to tell us. Mostly just have very short, confused statements, mostly about their status, but as you saw from that initial statue, one of them seemingly broke the fourth wall and stated the fact that they realized they were in the game. Also, you may notice that the central pedestal here has no statue on it, and that's because if we examine it, we find yet another item. Still no idea what to do with these items, but it never hurts to collect them. Most importantly, though, if we examine this northern statue, we find that it seems to recognize Rico. Not that her in-game avatar is any representation of her real-life self, but as we continue to talk more and more of the statue, it seems to reveal more and more about some inner knowledge about Rico. Most oddly, it seems that it understands some relationship that she and Davy has. Now, when we initially met them, or they initially had their conversation in the first chapter, it was just of a friendly, chummy nature, but this statue seems to think that they are in more of a closer, intimate type of relationship. Especially on the side of Rico, who seemingly is in love with Davy. Also, as we continue to talk more and more of the statue, it seems to get an almost threatening tone towards Rico. In the end, though, it seems to also state that Rico and the statue are going to be together forever. Now, as we re-enter the real world, for some reason, Rico seems to feel bad about these feelings she's had for Davy, but I think there's something more important going on. And that's the fact that the normally very, what I assume to be congested Nanto line is now extremely empty. And in fact, as Rico says, it was populated just a second ago.
Rico.
What was that?
Rico.
Yeah, even though we ourselves are not able to recognize that emotionless voice as Odaka, Rico seems to be very sure of it.
Rico.
And drawing yet another good usage of the 3D sound available on the DS, we can use this as a means to direct us just
Rico.
where the game is wanting us to go.
Rico. Rico, Rico, Rico.
Sadly, as we get to what I assume to be the source of the repeating Odaka voice, power seems to go out on most of the train cars. Also, as we no longer have the Odaka voice to follow, I guess we could just head back to our seat. So I'm not entirely sure if what has happened to the advertisements on the train is supposed to be shadows or maybe some deterioration. It's a bit hard to say. I think either way, it's probably an indication of bad things ahead. The Odaka voice leaves us, we find that there has been another very subtle change on the train cars. We could probably just head back if the doors hadn't suddenly locked. So I guess that leaves us no other option than to just press forward. Also, it's a bit hard to tell at this point. I can't tell if that's Odaka's voice or just the rhythmic engine sounds of the train around us, but something about it is just more and more unsettling as we head further and further back along this exceedingly long train. We have to reach the back at some point, I'm sure. But even at this point, Rico seems to notice that things are a bit off. We can't possibly still be in carriage number 4. As we get another update on our DS, or TS, we can head back into the game. And we find ourselves having left the area with the statues and just a 4-way intersection. And without any idea of where to go, I guess we could press north. Though yeah, we're actually in a bit of a puzzle, one that is used semi-frequently in RPGs, probably most noticeable in the original Legend of Zelda. All we have to do is figure out the correct path to go in the woods, and it's easily discernible in this case. We just have to find the path that is marked off with the white flowers. And soon enough, we'll find ourselves out of the game. Though we find ourselves, unfortunately, back still in carriage number 4. Which is even more disconcerting considering that in Japanese, the number 4, or shi, also means death, and is usually considered a bit of bad luck. But we are in for a bit of good luck, because this carriage has these weird flowers, and if we can draw some allusion to the game, this is where we want to head. I think also, in addition to the fact that we were going in something of a repeating maze in not only the game, but also in the carriages here, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more comparisons between real life and the game further and further as we head into the game. I would have said we finally got to meet Odaka, but all we're greeted with is another white flower.